Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to tell y'all today about a topic I'm very excited to introduce. Have you ever had to write an assignment that's maybe it's a 15-page informative essay, maybe it's got a maximum or minimum word count, and you're like me and this just frustrates you because you're adding fluff wherever you can, and it becomes kind of lost in the information. What if there was a way that we could avoid this? I'm excited to tell you today that there is. Brief writing is a written topic specific form of like an elevator pitch, if you will. Basically, it's a concise way for you to get across your point to your audience while making sure they have their attention grabbed and they know exactly what's happening. So I'm going to go into the structure of a brief. So a brief is a half of a page to a full page of written information. It starts with the topic, then moves on to a summary, and then to development and then analysis. Usually this is written in 12-point Times New Roman 1.5 line spacing, but depending on your use of it, you can do whatever you think is best. While this is my apologies. While this is intelligence community industry standard, my introduction to this does not represent any agency in the government or otherwise or any teaching institutions. However, I am a TA and I have been instructing this writing style for about 2.5 years now to students just like y'all. And I have had the opportunity to be an editor-in-chief for a publication that really focuses on this writing style. I think it's great. I think it really saves your time and your audience's time. Say maybe you're in the workplace and your boss asks you for a report on something. If you are able to deliver them that report in as concise of a manner, you're saving your time and their time. Nobody needs to spend their time reading or writing a 15-page report on something that can take up half a page if done correctly. So I'm going to go through each part of the brief and show you how those are written, starting with the title, the summary, development, and analysis. Perfect. So first, we're going to discuss the title. The format for the title is a little bit different than how the rest of the writing piece is going to be formatted. Your actor, which is going to be our class in this example, COM 225, is going to be completely bolded and in all caps with a colon afterwards. Then the rest of your title is going to follow with proper capitalization and in bold. Ideally, this should sit on one line at 12-point font, and this does, but for your viewing and not straining your eyes, I have made it a little larger. So titles consist of 3 parts. You have your factual information, you have your probabilistic call, and then you have your analysis, pretty much. So students prepare informative speech drafts is our information. That's a fact. Almost certainly is my probabilistic language leading to improving speaking skills. That's my call. Next, I'm going to move on to the summary. The summary has a slightly different format. It's going to be summary all bolded with that colon. And then you're going to talk about your title a little bit more in depth. So you're still going to have that factual piece and that more analytical piece, which will include that probabilistic language. So COM 225 students started their second round of speeches. Fact. As a result, students will likely, probabilistic language, have increased speech confidence and will likely succeed in creating their informative speeches. That's my call. This should stay on 3 lines or less. Shorter is better because it is a brief. But if you feel like any additional information is needed, feel free to add that in. Next, we're going to move on to our development. Development, the formatting is much the same as the summary, and you'll find out soon it's going to be very much the same in the analysis. In moving on to the development, you're going to start out with a time frame if you're following the strict guideline here. So on 11 June, students in COM 225 started their informative speech drafts with the goal of finding an informative topic to present by their peers, to their peers by June 19th. Pardon me. As you continue reading this, you'll find there's no analysis in here. There's also no probabilistic language. Your development is only for the event that's happened. This is like on the news. This is currently developing. That's where your information goes. No analysis, no calls, only facts right here. This doesn't have a length requirement. It kind of depends on how in-depth you need to be for either the situation or your audience. Lastly, our analysis. The analysis, unlike the development, does not focus on factual information. You'll have to use it in order to make your claims so that the audience knows what you're referring to. Otherwise, every sentence needs to have probabilistic language and your call. As I said, that heading is the same as it is with development and summary. So looking at analysis, students starting their informative speeches have experienced the initial shock of creating and presenting speeches with their first round of speeches. That's my factual information that I'm referencing from my development. Almost certainly, probabilistic language, resulting in stronger second speeches. My call. The second sentence follows this same format. Like the development, your analysis does not have a length requirement either. So again, whatever you think is necessary, you are welcome to do, keeping in mind to keep it within that half a page to a full page. Now that you've seen this, I hope you've gained an understanding of how this structure kind of fits together. But in case you haven't, let's look at it all together. So here we have our title, our summary, development, and our analysis. I've put my name here as you would in a traditional brief, but you don't have to, especially if you're using this for like an email. So you see we have our title here. We're catching attention. Summary, going a little bit more in depth of the title, right? So say somebody was in a huge rush, like it's an emergency and you need to get this information to them. They should be able to read your brief based on the title and the summary and have a general actable idea of what's happening. Then if they need more information, they go into the development to see what's actually happened, what's taken place, and then your analysis is what you think will result of it. So I hope you see this and you are already thinking of ways to apply this in your everyday life. Like I said, I really enjoy using this in emails because sometimes you need to get a point across as clearly and concisely as possible. Not necessarily in a stern way, I just need to make sure the person I'm emailing knows what I'm telling them. So in using this, I'm always confident that the person receiving my emails is going to understand what's happening. Also, I've used this in text messages, a very, very short version of this, mostly applying it as the title is going to be one line, summary, a sentence, development, a sentence, and so on. So I hope you see this and you're taking it as a tool to put in your toolbox for later if the decision should arise where you need it. Now that I have shown this to you, I'd like to show you some examples. If it will let me. Excuse me just a second. Here we go. So this is the Eagle Eye Intel publication. If you look here, you can see in the 408th edition, this is going to be an article. It's different than a brief, but it is also important, just a little bit more in depth. I believe this is actually an article edition. Let me go to a brief edition. So this is applicable, as you can see here, in a global climate perspective. So here is one where someone reported on Africa, their summary, development, analysis. So if you're looking for more examples, this is a great place to go. And then you can also go to resources and there is a writing guide for you to download if you should want to. Going back, there's also this website here. I also recommend it, but they don't follow the same format that I do, which is fine. Everybody has their own way that they convey a message, and it may vary from Intel company to Intel company. So what I recommend is you go to this website and you look through the information that they present. I personally like the information given on how to collect and analyze information and how to know how to organize it. It's something that you'll also get better with practice. I also encourage you to mix and match my structure with this structure. I think why not incorporate the best of both? So thank you all for listening to me today and hearing about brief writing. I am very passionate about this because I really think it's useful. And I don't think I would need to write an essay about COM 225 students creating their informative speeches. I'm sure I could. It would be fluffy, and I could probably make it last a few pages, but I don't think it's necessary. So I hope you see this and you think that this is a more strategic way to display information. Thanks again.